A child, always with something to prove, a chip on my shoulder.
Nintendo shocked the world when they announced that Team Ninja would be developing an entry in the long-standing Metroid franchise. The result is Other M, a game that takes the simple control scheme of the classics and infuses it with modernization. Multiple viewing perspectives, a dramatic storyline, and cutscenes galore bring Metroid into the next generation. Other M takes a controversial cinematic approach encompassing both gameplay and pre-rendered cutscenes. The camera during gameplay becomes polymorphic, scoping outwards, positioning behind the player, or, worst case scenario, over the shoulder. Perhaps the largest change of all, though, is the priority on story. The game begins with a flashback of the events in Metroid 2 on Game Boy and Super Metroid on the SNES. The opening cinematic shows a grandiose retelling of Super Metroid's ending against Mother Brain, where the baby Metroid that Samus saved in Metroid 2 sacrifices its life in return for Samus.
The signal was coming from a remote part of space.
Other M itself starts out after this event. Samus receives a distress signal from a spaceship, causing her to investigate its origin. It's from this bottle ship that the game unfolds. Things are generally controlled under a third-person perspective, shooting enemies using a lock-on targeting system. Taking a page out of the Metroid Prime playbook, Samus can switch to first-person view mode on the fly to fire missiles. Unlike the Prime series, though, she remains stationary at all times. The game is controlled by holding the Wii Remote sideways like an NES controller. To activate the first-person view, simply flick your wrist, point the Wii controller at the screen, and fire at your locked-on target. Horizontally readjust the controller to return to normal. It's a very important gameplay mechanic, as it's the only way to fire missiles or tether onto points via grapple beam. This control method is a distinguishing element in Other M, one that takes some adjusting to. Quick reaction time is key, as it can become very disorienting, causing you to struggle to find the enemy before said enemy finds you. Occasionally, the game will force you to locate a specific point on screen in first-person view. You can't continue until you find the far too precise sweet spot. This feels quite unnecessary, and something so simple shouldn't be as frustrating as it is. On the opposing end, the health recharge in Other M is anything but frustrating. Once critically damaged, tilting the Wii Remote vertically while pressing A will completely regenerate your health. This same method works to recharge your missiles, and when coupled with the very frequent save stations that completely restore health tanks and missiles, Metroid Other M isn't all that challenging. The hidden locations of items are shown as little blips on your map after clearing a room of enemies. Many of these items are well hidden in rocks through morph ball ducts and are generally but not always out of sight. Certain items require certain weaponry, not all of which are initially available, leaving you with several missiles and energy tanks that are unattainable until your second playthrough. As you progress through the game, additional weapons and abilities become authorized for use. Unlike prior Metroid games, your abilities are technically always there, but they must be permitted before becoming available.
You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so.
Samus runs into members of the Galactic Federation platoon on the bottle ship and subsequently finds herself under the orders of her former commanding officer,
Adam Malkovich, a general in the Galactic Federation Army.
Adam Malkovich authorizes every upgrade in your arsenal.
Samus, use your ice beam.
When nothing else works, Adam will ring in via radio, informing Samus to use one of her special abilities. The Ice Beam, a typical weapon in Metroid, has the power to freeze formidable foes. It comes of great use in fire-laden areas.
The most efficient way through here should be delivering shoulder impacts with your speed booster.
The Speed Booster and Shine Spark are perhaps some of the more satisfying upgrades. Run uninterrupted for a short period of time to charge up a jolt of energy that propels Samus straight through rocks or straight up in the air. There are many upgrades along the way, including a wave beam that penetrates through hard surfaces. The authorization sequence is forgivable aside from the Vicarious suit upgrade. Adam apparently falls asleep on duty and forces Samus to endure everlasting heat damage before deciding to approve it during a boss battle. It's a case of gameplay clashing with a plot device.
Hit the Varia feature on your suit to protect yourself from heat damage.
Other M has many boss battles, both big and small. Using a power bomb on spherical doors awakens a mini-boss. Assuming you defeat this mini-boss, you are treated to a hidden missile upgrade. This one is for post-game completionists only, however. By the time you finish the game, you'll already have a plentiful amount of missiles. Another mini-boss is the Asborian, a crab-like creature with robust outer armor. Quickly pressing the directional pad will auto-dodge his swift attacks and give you adequate time to initiate a shot to his exposed body. This is where first-person view comes into play in combat. Bosses also come in size XL. The gargantuan lava boss administers rapid blows to test your trigger finger. When opportunity strikes, a charged ice beam shot can freeze its entire arm, giving you a God of War-like sequence up to its head, where a charged beam shot point blank will do the creature in. A familiar foe also returns in Other M. Unlike most of the other bosses in the game, Ridley invokes emotions in the otherwise stoic Samus Aran. Her backstory is stressed heavily in the game.
My past has left me with an uneasy soul, and as a result, it touched me on some level that Adam would acknowledge that past by calling me something delicate, like lady.
The relationship between Adam and Samus is one of great intrigue. Previously, Samus wasn't given much of any character in other Metroid games. Here, though, she is given emotional depth and humanized in her bond with
Samus,
Adam.
Looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission.
But even in the naivete of my youth, I could see in Adam's joking manner how close he felt to me.
This fragile characterization of Samus caught many by surprise and splintered opinions about the series' direction. Maternal instinct and absent parenthood is a bit of a risky theme to undertake, but it mostly checks out. Samus's detached voice reinforces the narrative, although Adam falls a bit flat.
Young and naive.
Another person close to Samus is Anthony.
Anthony Higgs of the Galactic Federation Army.
Haven't seen you since that last mission.
He's a soldier working under Adam's platoon and has history with Samus, acting almost like a big brother.
Well, only one thing to do, huh? Let's tear this thing up.
Wait, Anthony, leave this one to me.
A woman identifying herself as Madeline Bergman rounds out the main cast of characters. Her involvement in the occurrences on the bottle ship is substantial. There's more to her than meets the eye. All of these characters inject a bit of typical Japanese-style storytelling into the Metroid universe. Metroid Other M still retains several conventional concepts. While the music isn't as memorable, the environments are multifarious just as they were in Super Metroid. Everything from leafy green jungles to bright white tundra areas make up this graphically impressive Wii game, and otherwise deviate from the monotonous corridors seen in similar games. The at times heavy-handed story is where things go awry.
The thumbs up sign had been used by the Galactic Federation for ages. I was known for giving the thumbs down during briefing.
Some contrived thumbs up, thumbs down symbolism is completely lost in translation, exposing poorly written dialogue and the otherwise interesting story of Samus Aran.
I used kid gloves because I was a woman. It was all conjecture.
Completing the story unlocks concept art, rewarding the player for locating hidden items and completing a certain percentage of the game. There's more to explore and defeat after the credits roll. The action is frequent and fun in Other M, but the puzzles are practically a cakewalk, and with auto-regenerating health and save points around every corner, the unlockable hard mode is mainly where the challenge lies. The over-the-shoulder sequences are completely forced and dragging, but the first-person view aiming, while not perfect, does give the gameplay a unique twist. It's quite fun to whip the Wii controller like a gun and blast away the bad guys. Other M may be flawed, but it's definitely worth a playthrough.